Hi, everyone. Great to be with you here today. Dana Stone. I introduced on Monday that I would be bringing to you the laws of the universe. And we're going to be talking about working with the law and how to apply the laws to your life to get the results you want. So I mentioned that when we understand the laws of the universe, what they are and how they work and how to apply them, life gets easier and more successful. So we're going to get started today. We're going to get started with the first law, and that is the law of thinking. The big law. This is a very important law, the law of thinking. So I want to just tell you the key concepts we're going to talk about today in this short video. In the law of thinking is everything is created twice. In other words, thoughts create our results. Being impeccable about your thoughts. 4 questions to help us notice what we're noticing. Practical steps to eliminate the thoughts we don't want. Practical steps to focus on the thoughts that we do want. So let's get started. Everything is created twice. Now we know this. We already know this. We just don't know the power of it. And I've talked about this a lot in the past. So everything in our room, everything we're surrounded by was first a thought before it could come into form. Everything starts in our thoughts. So if we want to know the predominant thinking of our mind, all we have to do is look at our results. And the good news is that if we don't like what we see, we have the keys to change that. So in the same way, if we are experiencing health, wealth, love, freedom, and beauty, it is because we first created that in our mind. And we might not have in the same way, because we first believed it was possible. So in the same way, we are experiencing the lack of health, wealth, love, freedom, or beauty. It's also because we have created that first in our mind. We may not have consciously chosen it, but our mind has a set point that allows us to experience a certain amount of freedom. So we're always creating, whether we choose to or not. We don't have a choice whether we create. It's whether we choose to create by design or we default. And that is creating consciously or creating unconsciously to the patterns that have been set forth. So we start by becoming impeccable about our thoughts. Recognizing that thoughts become things, we want to be very conscious of our thoughts. We want to notice what we're noticing and to stand guard at the portal of our mind, as Emerson says. We want to practice being impeccable with our thoughts. So ask yourself these 4 questions to do that. What do my thoughts reveal about me? So one of the windows into your mind is the words that you use. Genevieve Brennan wrote in Your Invisible Power, she wrote, in every word there is a power germ which expands and projects itself in the direction your word indicates and ultimately develops into physical expression. So your word is powerful. So ask yourself, what kind of words do I use? Do I use words of victimization? Something is done to me to describe what has just happened. Do I use words that indicate lack of choice? I have to, I need to. Or do I use words that reflect that I'm in charge? I choose to, I want to, I get to. Because everything really is a choice. You might say I have to, but if you just make the shift into I want to or I get to, you'll feels a lot better in your nervous system and you're more open. Do I use words that are self-depreciating? I hate this about myself. Do you cut yourself down? Or do you use things that are inspiring for you? Do I use words that put me in the vibration of anger? Maybe profanity puts you in the vibration of anger. Or do I choose words that are kind, compassionate, descriptive, and loving? Do I choose words that are fearful and untrusting? Or do I choose words that reflect a feeling of safety and trust in the world? Do I use words of lack and limitation? I can't afford that. Or words of abundance. I live in an abundant universe where there is a source and many channels for my good to come to me. What is a story I'm telling? Number two, what is a story I'm telling myself about what I'm capable of? Each of us has a story. We might have a story of being abused. We might have a story of living in poverty, of whatever it is, of living in an alcoholic home, whatever your story is. Or it could be a smaller story even, like this is much harder than it used to be, or I can't do this anymore, or whatever. It's hard to lose weight when you're past the age of 40, whatever your story is. And just recognize that everyone has a story, and some of it might be actually tragic and unfortunate, but they don't define who we are. Your story is not who you are. So what's a more empowering story that you can tell yourself? What's a more empowering story? I had this circumstance and I have accomplished this in my life, or whatever it is. Or I can have anything I want. It's easy to lose weight. It's easy to find opportunities. So what's a more empowering story you could tell about yourself and what you're capable of? Number three, what is feeding my mind? Now, I've talked about this before. Are you watching Discovery Channel or CNN, constantly negative news, or Fox, constantly whatever that would be? Any of the news channels, any of the cable news channels is not feeding your mind well. Are you watching mindless TV with, the reality TV show? That's pretty. Those are not feeding your mind at all. They're not feeding your mind at all. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you looking up online? What are you doing? What are you thinking about? What are the conversations you're having in your head? Because that's the most important conversations you have all day, is the ones you're having with yourself. So are you looking at the past or the future and trying to fix things in either of those places? Are you having revenge in your mind about things that have happened in the past or things you anticipate happening in the future? Or are you thinking about what's possible for you and opportunities for you and the things you like and the things you love and the people you like and the people you love? Where can you make that shift? So what kind of conversations are you engaging in with your friends and family? Is it gossip? Are you at work talking about how horrible the company is? Or are you talking about people you love? So how can you switch that to more uplifting and more deep and meaningful, or curiosity around growth or love or learning? So practical steps to eliminate the thoughts you don't want. Well, you have to, to break your patterns, you have to get really ruthless about being impeccable about your thinking. The number one thing that causes imbalances in our brain is the negative thinking. So choose, not to swear for a week. That one's kind of hard for me. I like to swear. Eliminate a victim mentality. Stop with I have to, I must, I need to. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to pick up your kids from school. You don't have to do it. Social services will show up eventually and they'll take care of your kids. But you want to. You don't want your kids to go with social services, right? You want to. So it's not I have to. You want to. Have a complaint-free week. Ooh, that's really hard for some people, I know. But try it. Just catch yourself complaining and then say, no, what can I think about instead? Where can I find the gratitude in this situation? Even if I'm not seeing it now. Don't engage in gossip. That's hard for some people. I did give that up a little while ago. Sometimes I find myself doing that. Sometimes it's so common and easy to do. It's how we relate to each other. Refuse to engage in negative conversations about other people. Don't watch the news. Don't watch TV, period. I know, Netflix. Or can you find some learning things, some fun things to learn? Or what can you read that's more interesting? Get interested in something. So, practical steps on focusing on thoughts you want is to start each day with a gratitude list. You know, this creates a new set point and gives us new focus. Follow your gratitude list with 10 things that you're wanting to create in your life. Remind yourself of the truth of who you are. You know, you are a human, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You have the capacity to be, to do anything you want. What is that? I am, the I am statements of how you claim yourself. I am worthy. I am love. Surround yourself with people who remind you of the truth of who you are. People who are uplifting. Rethink your thinking. Practice outrageous thinking. You know, what can you think of that's just so creative and so outrageous? Just write it all down and have fun with it. Allow yourself to dream and imagine. And remember that you choose to, you get to. Rethink your thinking. Meditation really helps. And focus. What you focus on grows. Everything has two sides to it. Everything has a negative side and a positive side. And it's what you're focused on is what will expand in your life. So you could focus on the competition and the lack, or you could focus on the opportunity that's available to you, because they're both present as each other. It depends on what you focus on. If you focus on the lack, you're going to get more of that. If you focus on the opportunity, all of a sudden opportunities will start coming your way that you really couldn't see from where you were focusing on the lack. And don't fight it. You don't have to fight anything down. When you walk into a room and it's dark and you want to get rid of the dark so you can see, what do? You turn on the light, and that just disintegrates the dark. You don't fight the dark. You just turn on the light. So this is what you're doing. You're turning on the light. You're raising your consciousness of what else is possible for you, what else is out there. So remember that, you know, even if you have just a small shift, just even 1 degree, you just turn your ship 1 degree and you go a mile down the road, you'll be in a much different place. So practice these thoughts. I hope that this was helpful for you. Choose one thing to eliminate in your week, one thing that is not helping your positive thoughts, and add one thing to your week that you can do. Practice these, try them out, see what helps, what works for you. I'm not just giving you the theory behind it, I'm giving you ways to take steps and to make this happen for yourself and make the small shifts. Next class will be on Friday, and that will be on the law of supply. I look forward to delivering you that. Have a great week, and any comments or questions, feel free to write in the comments below. I will see you soon. Take care.